Our top focus at this hour. India has called out Pakistan and China at a United Nations meet on Monday. In a veiled dig, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchira Kamboj, called for countries to respect sovereignty and territorial integrity and international agreements with other nations. While speaking at a United Nations Security Council meeting aimed at promoting common security through dialogue and cooperation, she said that the international order depended on a respect for the principle of sovereignty, and changing the status quo by force could harm the common security. Listen in.
The underlying principles behind common security lie in upholding the rules-based international order, underpinned by international law, premised upon respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all member states, resolution of international disputes through peaceful negotiations, and free and open access for all to the global commons. Any coercive or unilateral action that seeks to change the status quo by force is an affront to common security. Further, common security is only possible when countries respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as they would expect their own sovereignty to be respected.
The Indian envoy's remarks came in the backdrop of a recent show of aggression by China in the Taiwan Strait, which was essentially followed by the US leader's visit to the autonomous island. The Chinese forces carried out intense drills around the island while renewing its threat to take over the region by force if the need arises. In another veiled attack, Kamboj said that nations need to stand together against a common threat such as terrorism to uphold common security.
Common security is also only feasible when all countries stand together against common threats such as terrorism and do not engage in double standards while preaching otherwise. And again, common security is also possible only if countries respect agreements signed with others, bilateral or multilateral, and do not take unilateral measures to nullify those very arrangements to which they were party to.
This is not the first time when India has called out Pakistan over terrorism. In the past as well, New Delhi has exposed Islamabad for not doing enough against terror at various international forums. India's first woman representative at the UN did not name any country. However, the issues raised were specific to events that took place recently. The Indian envoy further called for multilateral reform, adding that the Global South was denied representation while attaining a more representative and transparent grouping. And for more details on this story, our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibbal gets us the latest in this next report. Let's take a look.
In a strong message to China, the Indian envoy to the United Nations said that countries should not violate the sovereignty and territorial integrity of other countries and also do not take unilateral or coercive actions and respect agreements or pacts. Now, we know that Beijing has done all of these in some way or another, not only with India, but with other countries in the region. When it comes to India-China relationship, it hasn't been going through a very positive phase. In fact, the Indian External Affairs Minister has in past few weeks several times said that it is going through a difficult phase. In fact, we know that India has been pointing out that how Beijing is not respecting the India-China pacts, the border pacts of 1990s, which basically calls not to amass troops at the border. And we know that the Galwan incident, the Chinese aggressive action, the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh that led to death of 20 Indian soldiers, something that nosedived the relationship. We know that the incident happened in 2020, and since then the relationship has been going southwards. But the Indian envoy also emphasized on reforms of the United Nations Security Council, several times pointing out that how there is need for the countries, the developing countries, to have a permanent position there, especially batting for Africa, saying that Africa also needs to be present at the United Nations Security Council. But the focus was that there needs to be reformation and, of course, a United Nations Security Council that is reflective of 2022 and not of 1940s. Siddhant Sibul for WION in New Delhi.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.